I'll be recording. All right. Just to recap what we have discussed. Okay. For the second assignment, the first assignment you have done tutorial 1 and 2, and the last week you have we have done a class activity which you have presented. Okay, which you have presented, and then I hope that you still have the answer. Okay, I will need you to submit the answer to Putra Blast. Only one assignment, one submission per room. Okay, it doesn't have to be everybody. Only the representative need to submit what you have presented last week. Okay, all right. The submission link is already in the Putra Blast. Okay, I will show you. All right. And I have discussed with you about the concept of problem-based learning, where you apply all the informations that we have discussed, and also in future, because this one will covers also ANOVA, multivariate analysis by the lecturers after this. Okay, so this assignment will be conducted, throughout your classes until week 14. So that's why the submission is until week 14. Okay, so you can use the informations from what I have discussed, and also the informations from the future lecturers. Okay, after this, Dr. Helmi, starting next week, he'll be focusing on SPSS, ANOVA, for 3 weeks, and then the rest, which is another 4 weeks, by Dr. Zuli on multivariate analysis. So there are certain softwares that you have to download from UPM website. I will also share that. Okay. So this assignment also will be covering what they will taught you, and you can use whatever information from them. So it's very important to mimic the actual scenario. Okay, right. Okay, let me skip this. I think I have discussed it last week. Okay. And I have presented generally scenarios. Okay. And what should be done once we have that scenario. But I will be sharing the actual one so that you understand when I say scenario, it's not just a scenario. It needs to have a proper data comes together with the proper analysis. Okay. So another scenario. Okay. Right. So you also have to understand how is it going to be evaluated. I have briefed you. If you choose module 1, you are to suggest a scenario that is compatible with the one that I'm going to share, right? Present to you. And make sure design the data analysis properly. Okay. So by right, which is today, this week is week 7, you should be presenting your representative should be presenting the scenario and what kind of statistic application that you want to use. But this is not yet detailed. Okay, I understand that. Okay. So week 14 is to submit everything. Okay. So there are 2 types of submission. I will be detailing that later. And this also by you. If you choose, let's say you don't want to, you're not sure about the scenario or the journal that you want to use, you just want the data from me. You want the data sets given by me, it's fine. I can give you. And the rest of the steps, for example, design until the submission of the recorded will be the same. Okay, it's just that the scenario or the study, the data sets comes from me. So you have 2 options, right? So this will contribute 40%. Remember that last week you get 10% based on your presentation, and the week before, the tutorial 1 and tutorial 2 that you have submitted will give you 10%. So now, well, almost 20% is easy for you. Okay, and this one will give you 40%, and the final 10% will be a small assignment by Dr. Zuli because it's multivariate. Okay, it has to be by him. Okay, so how does the 40% will be assessed for your assignment? Okay, so first reporting or planning. Okay, how are you going to do the first reporting? Okay, I will give an answer. I will give an example on that to get the 10%. And of course, the report has to be in a final written analysis, which will also be shown to you after this, and recorded video on the presentation of the analysis. So there are 3 steps involved. One is the planning, the scenario, the presentation of the scenario to your members with, of course, discussion, and the full written analysis. And the last one is the presentation of the analysis, the statistical study in a recorded form. Okay. And in fact, this one also is in recorded form, the first one. Okay. All right. If you have any question, just stop me. Okay. Right. So now I will show you the example of the first one, which is your planning. Okay. So let me share this one. Okay. Okay. So now you should be seeing the Putra Blast page for this subject. Okay. So remember about your presentation last week. Okay. So I need you to submit the final one, the PDF, or what I think is preferred PDF. Okay, only the representative. So it will be 4 submission, yeah, room 1, room 2, room 3, and room 4. So to make it easy for me, when you submit, please name the file. For example, room 1, room 2, class activity, room 1, class activity, room 2, class activity, so that it's easier for me to trace. Okay, and it is preferred if you can just put all the names of your members. Okay, because, well, I've seen your presentation, no problem, but unfortunately I have deleted the accidentally deleted the last week recorded one. Okay, so please submit the one that you have presented. Okay, so let's move to the last, which is the one that on PBL. Okay, so we'll discuss with you example of the return, okay, which contribute 20%. I will discuss later. And remember the 10% and the 10%, okay? So the 10% of the discussion, okay, meaning that the presentation of the final analysis, it is, you can view from the example from here. We'll watch later if we have time, okay? So how does the detail of these members, okay, the group members presented the final analysis, the final statistical analysis. Of course, there is someone who probably managed as a leader, okay, so you need to have that as well. And for the first 10%, remember about the planning, okay, the scenario itself, okay, probably the head of the group have to present to them, to the members, okay, this is the scenario and this is the data and the delegation of work, okay, probably team member 1, that you have to do this, team member 2, you have to do this, so it has to be recorded, okay. So the meeting, the planning has to be recorded. So just make it non-official, meaning that you don't have to be so official. It's just a discussion among you on how you delegate your work and the scenario that you decide to choose. Okay. So I hope that you understand. The 10% will be the planning. Remember in the slide, the scenario present to you, what is your plan, what are the statistical uh, tools that you want to use. And another 10% is once you have done the analysis, you present the statistical study. Okay, so the most goes to the return part. Okay, so I will show you the return part. Question? No question? Are you clear about this? I need you to submit the last week activity, class activity, okay?
I have one question, Prof.
Yes, Ashraf.
About the documentation for the team working part. Uh, can we submit the progress, the evidence based from the WhatsApp group? I mean, we discussed in the WhatsApp group. I mean, we tried to document it.
I think it is proper to have this kind of, because, okay, I have to tell you a few things, okay? For the evaluation for this subject, okay, we have to consider what teamwork, and then we have to consider communication. Okay, so those things will be evaluated. That's why it has to be in recorded form. Okay, well, WhatsApp, it's not really considered communication. Okay, so we want to see how do you collaborate, communicate. Okay, so I would say that a recorded meeting will be better. Okay, it can be online. It doesn't have to be physical. You can create um, your own Zoom or your own Google. Okay, I hope you understand that. Because
Okay,
there are
thank you, Prof.
certain criteria that we have to also evaluate. Okay, so let's share for me to discuss on the written report. Okay, stop share this one. So these are all based on scenarios and data given by me. Okay, none of them are by their own. Okay. So the recorded video just now is based on this assignment. So I have shared this example in the Putra Blast as well as the recorded video. So you can view, so have a look how they conduct. I've chosen the best, okay? I've chosen the best, all right? Okay, so it's good to have the title of the scenario so that you can submit it based on the name. Okay, so in this case, because the project is given by me, so it already have a name. Okay, but you can name the scenario. Okay, right. So there is, of course, when you present the written report, you have to be clear on the problem that you are working on. So if you have chosen journals, any journals, so you have to also put the questions that you wish to solve, okay, you based on the statistic just now. Okay, and this one is not really statistical because in the scenario, in the module, there are certain questions. So that's why they are answering this question. So it doesn't have to be in your scenario because this is just like understanding the chemistry. Okay, so what I want to move to is what is the main thing? The main thing that you want to answer for your scenario. So in this case, the situation was to prepare a plant or a factory actually to prepare titanium dioxide. Okay, so two industrial methods of preparing titanium dioxide are the sulfate process and the chloride process. So there are two processes. For each, this process give a list of advantages and disadvantages. So it's like when you have a scenario and when you have a situation that you want to solve by using statistic, you have to tell the story first. So this is the story. And then this is the understanding of the story. Okay. This because it's already in the module, so they just answer. Okay. All right. And then again, these are all questions in the module. Okay. So they just answer. But now they started to have the statistical or the data that needs to be analyzed. Okay, so the data are given to them. A standard contain five analysis actually. Each perform 6 determination on the same day with the following results. Okay, so the question also given comment on the accuracy. So they just use the basic whatever to answer the question. So because this was done based on what have been given to them. So whatever being asked, okay, whether they need to analyze the data, so they do analysis, precision, accuracy, okay, depends on the situation. So in the end, they, of course, from the data, okay, they make conclusion. Okay, there's a lot, quite a lot. Okay, there are some parts that involving calibration plots. Okay, depends on the questions that you wish to answer. Okay, that's why setting up the question that you wish to answer, and then you answer it using statistical methods, and in the end is making conclusion. Okay, so this one is already in Putra Plus. You can have a look at in detail. Okay, so we'll be showing another one. So this is another scenario involved. So I think you have seen the issue, the murder. Okay. So it's good if you have like this content. Okay. Case summary. If you have chosen any scenario, so you need to have a scenario summary. So it needs to be in a storyline. Yeah. And the data. Okay. So since in this case the data is required to confirm whether there is poison involved. Okay, so the question here is to search which from the analysis of the samples that is obtained from the crime scene, which contain more or above toxic level. So there's a lot of data given, so they have to do some screening. It's not really statistic, but because you also learn about sampling, so the skills here are to samples, okay, to identify what are the samples to be taken. So those are skills, uh, real life skills, yeah. And then they are to suggest what are the analysis that they want to do for this case. Okay, they can fill up the forms. What are you looking for? what evidence that you want to submit. So this is a real situation, yeah. All right. And since yeah, a bit of sample preparation if it is needed. Okay, since it is suspected as a thallium, in this case, thallium methyl is the one that uh, in the poison that is actually as the source of the poison. So you have to suggest the right method to analyze metal because there's a lot of samples, biological samples, food samples. So what are you targeting? Metals or any other uh, types of poisons? So in this case, it is suspected that it comes from thallium, so they search for they use ICP and EAS for the metal analysis. So all these data are given, so they just screen the data and make it into a proper report. So screening a data, actually there's a lot of data and it's quite difficult to, but it is a real scenario where you are given data, you have to decide whether there is a probable case of thallium poisoning. So in this case, you can see it is in fact the level is significantly high. Mm. And also you can see it's all red. It's quite interesting. Just okay, so it is this one is a summary. Okay, you don't do experiment, but they just screen the data and then come up with the summary and what do they found significantly high, and then make conclusion from the summary. So this is our work as a scientist. Okay, we have to answer. So based on the data from table 19, which they do the analysis based on the data analysis only. Yeah? Heavy metals reported to be higher than the typical values. Okay, these are the heavy metals: aluminium, mercury, blah, 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 and thallium. Okay, so thallium in the body seem to be 14 to 32 times higher than the normal. So kidney, liver, and stomach shows high levels of thallium. Toxic amount of thallium found in the wine. So that is suspicious that somebody put the thallium in the wine. So highest level of thallium found in white sauce as well. White sauce contain the highest amount of thallium at 26,000. Okay, so it is very important. So you sort of make a role play. So in this case, in this scenario, your role is as investigator or forensic scientist, forensic investigator, and when you have the data, you have to do some analysis and come up with the uh, conclusion or summary. Okay, so that is problem-based learning. Okay, you use a real problem. Okay, apply all the information, statistic, ANOVA or multivariate analysis to solve the questions, the problem or the question asked. Okay, based on the scenario. In this case, is probable cause of death. Okay, which is it's not yet who is responsible, but is probably the cause of death is poison. Okay, right. So so you think you can match it? You can match with the scenario? So that's why I'm suggesting you need to find a good journal if you want to obtain data and to do some analysis with Statistic. If you have situations in your workplace that already have a lot of data for you to do some to apply some statistical tools, then you can use that. It doesn't have to be like forensics or environmental, but it can be based on just now comparison of two methods, but it's actual life. It's not academic, just academic, but it's actual. So if I don't know if you have
Prof.
all right, sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Module 2 means that I give the data. The previous assignment, the data all given by me. The scenario is all given by me. Okay. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's difficult because the data is from me and it seems complicated, but they have done well, I think, the previous students. So it's your own choice whether you want to use your own scenario or situation or study, or you can request from me. All the datas are not calculated by the students. The datas are given. It's just that the analysis are done by the students. The data is given and not calculated, analyzed by the students. Okay, these are all questions by Alia, right? Okay, so it's your choice whether you want to use your own. Okay, so remember about last week that I have shared about metabolites. Okay, remember the issue of palm tree infection. It's not in this class, but it was in research methodology class, okay, that I have shared. So that kind of analysis also can be done. You have a real data, and then let's say you need to choose, you need to do multivariate analysis, then you do the multivariate analysis, and then you do the analysis. So that kind of assignment suitable also for this assignment too. Okay, you need to decide, okay? All right. Yeah. You just please you have to decide based on with your members, yeah, with your group members. Okay, I know that I've given until week 7, but I'm sure that I don't know, I just listen to you for the next 8 to 9. If any suggestion, then I will give feedback to you. But if you think you need more time, okay, to get back to your members and then discuss back, is okay. Because this second assignment is actually for you to do it slowly. You develop, okay? Right. Okay, the second one is not about assignment, it's about for you to download. Yeah, I haven't opened. Okay. For the preparation of next week and for the Dr. Zuli's, okay, you will have to browse this website, IDEC UPM. Why is it not going to IDEC UPM? Okay, So you are seeing my screen on iDeck, okay? So I hope that everybody is seeing that. So you just open, oh, okay. You can just straight away to, sorry, yeah, to license software. Okay, you can just open license software. Okay. So as a registered students, you can download the SPSS. Okay. Pegawai perlu. Okay. SPSS, I'm not so sure, but you can download MATLAB because MATLAB will be used. You're not going to use heavily in MATLAB. You can be used, you need to use this for with Dr. Zulis, yeah. So you can click this, you have to log in, okay. So as a registered student, you are entitled for all this, yeah, entitled. I think including SPSS. I'm not so sure about SPSS, but I think you can ask Dr. Helmi after this, yeah, the week after that. Next week, sorry. So you can see that students can use this. Okay. So you can use MATLAB. So this is for staff. Okay. This one is yours. You can use MATLAB and also SPSS. But there's no link here. You may ask Dr. Helmi. Yeah? Okay. All right. So any questions?